It had been a while since I'd seen Julia Roberts. I mean, I'm aware of her. I actually think she's a good actress. She's actually had a really cool Netflix program we watched, and it was good. It actually respected our military. And you know what else? It actually cast big doubt on pharma. I liked it. I don't think I have anything against her. Everyone can have their own political views. She went out to speak to voters, and it was about women and what women need to do.
I just hope that all the women here tonight talk to all the men that aren't here tonight, and all you brave men that are here tonight. Talk to all the other men that aren't here tonight. And let's just get it going. Enough with the fighting. Let's get to the uniting. Let's get to the joy. Let's get to the repair. Let's get to prices dropping, rents dropping.
Oh, we're going to get to that
good stuff so we can start living our lives to the fullest potential that we have.
Now, it's not a mistake that Julia Roberts says the price thing last. I mean, that was something that she was handed. Everything else is emoting. And again, she has her right. Go do what you want. She was at a Harriet's Waltz fundraiser or gathering and getting the people riled up. She doesn't have to live the same life that other people have to live and that other women have to live. There's a woman who was a former Democrat. Well, she is a former Democrat. She used to be, or still is, a producer with the Young Turks. Very, very hard left program. She had an experience that a lot of American women are having, and it is the reason she's no longer a Democrat. So as Julia Roberts spoke all these nice words, this stuff is happening more and more often. I'll show you this in a second because it's a deeply unhealthy trend in American cities and particularly dangerous for women. There's danger all around the world. Like, you know, there are parts of this country that have fallen under cartel control. It's just reading about now San Antonio, 5 gangs have taken over. 5 apartment buildings taken over in San Antonio, Texas. Just read that this morning and just scanned the article. And that's just on the Mexico border, right? So there are parts of Mexico that are cartel run. Then further south, there's a part of Mexico called Puerto Vallarta, which is the safest part of Mexico. Safe for a number of reasons, not the least of which is they have 7 different police forces there, one of which does nothing but prevent crimes against tourists. Also, the Jalisco cartel has said, you don't mess with tourists. Okay, well, our cartels up here don't have the same rule with our citizens, do they? Why do I mention Puerto Vallarta? Because it's where I go for healthcare. It's where I go to get my body fixed in record time. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. One, it took me 48 weeks to be able to do a push-up or a pull-up. 48 weeks. The other one, the same effective surgery, 11 weeks. The difference was stem cells gathered from umbilical cords and placentas, period. Never anything to do with abortion. The healing was so profound. The day after I got my shots from a Harvard-certified surgeon, 46 million stem cells in my shoulder capsule. I woke up in the hotel room in Puerto Vallarta, and I forgot which arm had been operated on. It doesn't need to be after surgery for recovery, although it's helpful. It could also keep you out of surgery and out of pain. Just go to renew.healthcare and ask them if they can help you. They'll look at your medical records and MRIs, and if they can, they'll tell you. They'll even tell you the percentage chance of success. If they can't, they'll be honest with you. It's renew.healthcare. This woman's name is Anna Kasparian, and she's been with the Young Turks. She had an experience that all too many women are having in cities like Los Angeles because of what cities like Los Angeles are being turned into in service of the color revolution.
In 2022, it was around March. I was walking my dog. It was not quite dark yet, but the sun was setting. As I'm walking my dog, I see these 2 guys that were just kind of like moving around weirdly. You know, they seemed kind of manic and their clothes were tattered. So I knew that they were probably homeless. And I also knew that they're probably on something just based on like the twitchy way they were acting. But living in LA, I mean, there's homeless people everywhere, right? So I've never had problems. I didn't think anything of it. But as I was bending down to pick up my dog's mess, one of the guys like grabs me by my hips, and he had an erection. Oh, God. And just starts like humping me. And I I didn't know what to do. Like, I was terrified. I didn't have a weapon on me.
Yep.
Like, I had no way of defending myself. I didn't know how far it was going to go because it's two guys. I'm by myself with my little dog. It was one of the most terrifying things ever, because I'm pretty good at defending myself. In that moment, I just knew there was no option.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily, he stopped, and they just laughed at me and walked away as they were laughing at me.
Luckily, she had this experience which turned her off from the Democrat Party. Why? Because this is welcomed. This is welcomed, and in some ways, this is encouraged. You create environments where people observe behaviors they're allowed to get away with. Take it from a culture, any form of culture. Take this gym cultures. I have 2 gyms I go to. One I go to during the weekends because it's hard to get into my CrossFit gym. That gym culture has a lot of what are called, and this is a terrible phrase, but it's called booty cuties. And these are women, young women who want to work on their abs and their glutes, period. And they film themselves doing it, and it's very, very annoying because it's all they're doing. And I feel very sad for them because, I want to say, young lady, you are more than your abs and your glutes. It's not in pursuit of athleticism or anything like that. There's also a strongman culture there. It's a weird mix of cultures. In my CrossFit gym, it's a completely different culture. There is none of that. There's no filming of videos. We don't have mirrors, none of that stuff. In the cities, people can observe, wow, I can get away with doing this. I face no risk. Look at the shoplifting. Look at the vandalism. Then look at cities like Seattle, where a legitimate defense in court. If you were brought into court and charged with a sexual offense like this, you know what one of your legitimate defenses you're allowed to make is? I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm chronically depressed. And so I sexually assault women. I'm homeless, and so I do this. Okay, we'll let you go. But that's homeless people. That's people who have turned into street people, different from people who experience homelessness. People experiencing homelessness normally want out of it. Some people like living on the streets because they can do things like that. Julia Roberts doesn't have to live through these things. She's protected constantly. But we're talking about street people, not really well-educated people like Doug Mhof. Doug Mhof was on MSNBC with Morning Joe. And Morning Joe did everything he could to soft pedal the accusations of Mhof slapping his girlfriend and impregnating a nanny and forcing her to have an abortion.
In spreading it about you, saying that tabloid stories about your personal life, saying it should be front and center. He's saying it about your wife and making incredibly crude and lewd suggestions about her past life. I'm just curious. I know I seem like a very zen, mindful person.
No, you don't.
But I think I'd be pissed off. And I'm just wondering, how do you all stay centered? How do you stay disciplined and not really go off and not really push back hard at these things?
We don't have time to be pissed off. We don't have time to focus on it. It's all a distraction. It's designed to try to get us off our game.
Does it get you off your game?
No. All we are doing, all we talk about is this election. We understand the stakes.
All we talk about is this election, not this country. A lot of people focus on the word distraction. Mhof calls it a distraction. It wasn't a distraction to the woman he allegedly slapped, sexually used, and then forced to have an abortion. Those weren't distractions. All we talk about is this election, not this country. I believe him. Don't you?